What's up, everybody, and welcome back one more time to Major Minor. I'm going to try and do this in one shot. If not, it's just going to be a long video. So you say. Our goal here today, we're going to get the true ending. What we're going to do is we're going to speed demon through the story, and we're just going to show you the things that you need for the true ending, and things that are different from our original playthrough. One involving, we're going to have to save Rook instead of Keela, if we want the true ending. We're also going to have to piss Keela off a little bit for the true ending. But luckily we already got Keela's backstory. We already got most of the characters' backstories, actually.
Yay.
We are going to have to miss out on a character that we did not meet in the first one, and we're not going to be able to do it this time either, if we want the true ending. Her name is Eclair, he or she, I'm not sure. It's a character at the Maid Cafe, if you tell Keela you want to go to the Maid Cafe. Eclair and Rook have a history. That is probably who Max was referring to when she said she went through his phone. But we have to go through the Jade storyline, not the Eclair storyline, if we want full true ending. Because
Which saddens me, because I was looking forward to voicing a kitty cat, but being a kitty cat myself.
Yeah. So, if you want the stuff with the Maid Cafe, play the game. I gave you the short version. It's a maid at the cafe. They have a history with Rook.
She's a cat, and she's adorable.
Yeah. But we're going to get this started. You guys aren't going to see most of what happens. We're going to show you what's different, and we're going to show you the true ending flags. And the things you need to get those flags. Because you have to answer certain questions a certain way to have the ability to get the flag. Which kind of sucks. But, here we go. Okay, so this is the first question that we're going to have to answer differently
than our original playthrough.
We answered it honestly the first time.
For a reason.
Yeah, I didn't see that. You pointed that out when we played this the first time. Up in the corner, the carrier is FURRY. Okay, so I accidentally sped through that, but I grabbed the right one.
Thank God.
You're supposed to tell Rook that not much longer now, you'll be there soon. Even though that's a lie, you want to tell him what he wants to hear.
Yes.
That's the first correct thing you need to do. Moving on. Okay. So, this is where he asks whether or not you want to go to the Maid Cafe. If you say, I'd love to, that will get you the storyline that'll let you meet Eclair, who works at the cafe, who has a history with Rook. We can't do that if we want the true ending. Because
we need to keep Rook's affection, and if we say that we want to go to the Maid Cafe, which, you know, Rook and Eclair have a past, Rook's going to go, oh, hell no.
And that's the whole reason it takes away from Rook's affection that we just got.
Because he doesn't want to see his ex.
He doesn't want to see his ex. It's not good. Spoilers on that, but it was kind of obvious. So we have to say they aren't really my thing. Moving on. Alright, so here's the next choice. They ask you where you want to go. You gotta go talk to Jade. So we're gonna go meet with Jade. Now finishing... Well, we're just gonna cut ahead to when we're talking to Jade.
Yep.
So, go meet with Jade. That's your next correct choice to do. So, I'm just cutting in really quick. The next question involving Jade that involves a true ending flag is not here. It is later. Choosing to go talk to Jade is your true ending flag.
Yes.
We will be cutting into the next true ending flag in a moment. We're going to be speeding through all of this crap. Okay, so this is the next thing that changed. You will get this if you have gotten an affection point with Rook and kept it. You very easily could have lost that affection point with him early on.
By going to the Maid Cafe and other things.
Yeah, if you go to the Maid Cafe, you will immediately lose that affection point with Rook, as well as breaking your NDA by telling Keela what you're doing in Japan.
Yes.
You have to tell him, I can't say why I'm here. And you have to not go to the Maid Cafe to get this dialogue, which will get you another question with Rook. So I'm actually going to do this bit. But before I can catch up, Rook decides to stop me. Hey, hold on a second. I swiftly turn around and face him in the eyes. This is our first time making any real eye contact, and for a moment I sense sadness within him. I'm sorry for being a jerk to you two. I know you're thinking it in your head. Everyone else is too, I can tell. I know that I've wronged you a lot today, even if you aren't strong enough to say so. Where is this coming from? But you know, we have a lot in common, so I feel like I can confide in you. This is awkward, I know. But hear me out. A lot of the stuff I say, I'm joking, but apparently they're only funny to me. I end up offending or judging everyone else. That much was clear already. I hope that Jade doesn't become like this, especially since Rook was teaching her humor.
She ends up somewhat actually funny.
By the end, yeah, she learned sarcasm. I just wish I was understood. Half the time I have to bite my tongue.
It's because you come out sounding like an asshole.
He comes out sounding very crass. That's a reference to the earlier part of the game. Shut up. I'm scared I'll hurt people. I don't want to get hate for just talking. Half the time I'm just speaking my mind.
Alright, Donald Trump.
It makes me scared in everything I say. A world where you're scared to speak. It's a lonely one, I can say that much. That's why I use my tablet so much. I can be alone, yet with others. I can bite my tongue before it's too late. It gives me a filter.
Yeah, because you actually have to hit the send button.
I can understand him on that. I've had a few conversations like that.
That's actually why I prefer text or email as opposed to talking on the phone, personally.
A little bit.
Because then I can, review what I've typed and edit as necessary.
Yeah. And you know, this wasn't always the case. He stares at me like I've done something horribly wrong. But as far as I can tell, I didn't. This outburst is all on him. He pulls out his phone and starts typing on it. He's texting me? I'm literally standing right here. I pull out my phone to see what he said. I used to be one of the #1 hosts in Akihabara. I worked in a maid cafe.
So that's how he met Eclair.
And that's why him and Eclair have history and why he did not want to go to that maid cafe.
No, not even a little.
Rook used to work at a maid cafe. That's bizarre. Now I'm imagining him in a dress.
They have suits. They wear, butler uniforms.
I didn't know they also did that. I figured maid cafes were straight up maids.
No.
Okay. I stared him directly in the eyes with a serious look. I want him to know that I'm handling this with respect. He nods and starts typing on his phone again.
This is why I keep wanting to go to the maid cafe whenever we go to the convention that we go to.
Yeah. But I lost someone close to me, and that just changes your outlook in life, you know? Someone close to him died. I wonder who that could have been. I maintain my eye contact with him. After a few moments, his eyes well up.
I feel...
He's not talking about Eclair.
Darn it.
When you lose someone, that's not talking about Eclair. That's not talking about someone who's still alive. When they died, one of the most cheerful hosts in all of Japan turned into a cynical, withdrawn jerk. So he's saying he didn't always act like this. He must have lost someone very important. To impact his personality so much. He shuffles awkwardly as he sends the next text message. And you're looking at him. Yeah, we figured you were talking...
We kind of figured.
Yeah, we figured you were talking about yourself. I really didn't expect any of this, but it makes sense. Now I know why he hates maid cafes. It's so clear. Good thing we didn't go to one earlier today. You're so stupid.
That explains why it was going to be a negative point.
No idea how you got me to open up, but I swear if you tell anyone else, well, that'll be the end of you. He's blaming me. Somehow this feels like an extremely Rook thing to do. I hate you, baka. He closes his eyes and tilts his head upwards, and suddenly I realize he wasn't talking to me. He was talking to himself? You just can't stop running your mouth. Even at the most inappropriate times. You should have stayed a worthless hikikomori. He started crying now, his eyes glistening. Not just a tear, but a veritable fountain of them. What do I say?
Stop jiggling your leg, you're shaking your microphone.
It's fine. Of course we like you, Rook. Just for everyone watching, it does not matter which one you pick, both of which will get you a true ending flag just for getting this dialogue. So, you managed to keep your affection with Rook after having 2 chances to lose it.
Yes, which is amazing.
Which is amazing, because both of those things from earlier were, alluring to do.
Yes, very much so. Which is why we ended up doing them earlier.
So, I like you, Rook. Yay. You're my favorite ferret.
Rook is shocked and confused.
I decide to be candid with Rook. I tell him that I like him. I know there's a good person deep inside. He just has to find them and let them out. I can tell he's having an episode of depression. Sometimes we shut out the world when we're depressed.
This is true.
By either isolating herself or pushing friends away.
Or loved ones.
He's clearly been trying to push us away, while wasting all of his time on his tablet. A hikikomori is a Japanese term for a shut-in. I am aware of this. They want nothing to do with society. This is why otakus are actually not... Otaku is not a good term in Japan, because hikikomori is associated with it. Oftentimes they live on junk food and surf the web. I knew his judging was a symptom of a deeper issue. I want to help him, not see him suffer like this. He's having trouble with the loss of a loved one. We've all been there, or at least we will be. The latter is a more terrifying thought than the former. That's some foreshadowing from hell.
Yes.
But it's something we'd all face during our lives. Rook lets out a soft smile before he continues talking. That's the last thing I expected to hear. Normally people just walk away from me. I haven't had someone stay and listen, let alone say something positive about me. Most people just harp on me for the tablet. They tell me I'm wasting my time, you know. Thanks for saying what you did, though. I might have taken it the wrong way, or perhaps your intent was different. But thank you. It was still very kind. Haven't smiled like this in a while. He takes a few deep breaths before calming down. Just awfully impulsive of him to open up like this. Thank you for listening to me, regardless. But I guess we need a few ground rules now, so listen close, your life is on the line. Tell anyone about what happened, and I will end you. Never mention this. I have eyes and ears everywhere, got it? There we go, back to our regularly scheduled Rook. He seems so concerned about his public image. In fact, he's willing to threaten me over it. I know they aren't legitimate threats, however. Please, go and enjoy your hotel. Don't let my sob story bring you down. It certainly helped me. Venting, I mean. And you know what? I kind of like you too. I admire your ability to listen to people. And that little beep you just heard was a true ending flag.
Yay!
Without saying another word, he slowly walks away. He types away on his tablet, like usual. Just what is he doing on there all the time? I decided to find my way back to our hotel. I was a little worried and anxious about what happened, but all my worries washed away when I entered the room. Okay, so now this is continuing forward, and we will see you at the next true ending flag. Okay, so, this is the next part that actually involves a true ending flag. This is during the questionnaire while you're coming into Terra. The rest of the questions don't really matter. They change small things during dialogues. Your inner thoughts will be slightly different. But what you do need to do is on this question on whether or not you're a follower or a leader, you have to say leader. This does not give you the true ending flag, but it unlocks a specific dialogue later, which will give you a true ending flag. So this gives you access to the chance to get the other flag. So you do need to answer this like this. It has to be, I am a leader. All the other questions don't matter, except for that. So there you go. Okay, so this is the next bit that we have to actually make a different choice on. To get the true ending flag, there is a true ending flag here and immediately following this, which involved us choosing leader in the last bit of questions. You have to side with Ṟrighty and Keela. This is going to change a scene, so I am going to have to act this one. Of course, it seems like the obvious choice. At least, I tell myself this as a method of reassurance. It wasn't in my nature to let someone starve in prison, even if it meant losing track of the reason I'm here. I might not learn what the king wants this way, but at least I know I'd be saving something. And Keela trusts Ṟrighty. I should trust him too. I don't think Keela's the type to be easily manipulated. But then another thought crossed my mind. If you suddenly found yourself in a strange world, you would likely trust the first person to help you. There's a point in time where you're impressionable. Maybe that's why I trusted Endymion and Conrad. Perhaps if they got Keela, he'd side with them too. I decided that I should quickly drop this thought. It'll do nothing but except make me doubt myself. However, bridges will definitely get burnt. I could possibly make Endymion and Conrad my enemy. I don't want that to happen, it's just a fact. I ask Ṟrighty what our next step is. I let him know my allegiance lies with them.
Well, your choice makes me happy. I'm glad that you've seen the truth. But for now, we simply have to wait.
This is really awesome. We get to be partners on Terra, too.
I smile. Things are starting to take shape. The huge uncertainty I felt earlier now fades away. That beep you heard a moment ago was the true ending flag going off, just to, kind of prove that the flag is there.
I would advise that you go back upstairs. Go back about your business as you see fit. But perhaps stay away from the assassins. In the meantime, I'll talk with Keela. Our assault on Claire's home needs planning. But no, you've made the honorable choice.
Of course he has. That's what he's good at. Perhaps I'll come speak with you later. But for now, I have to talk to ṛouᴉW. He seems to want my input for some reason.
That's true. But you have a part to play. Pretend that you're still on their side. I'll make sure to find you when we need you. Kaelin will suffer no longer, and Velasquez's tyrannical reign will end. This is your true duty as the savior.
Both of them walk away, leaving me alone. I'm left to ponder the decision I just made, that and what consequences might come of it. Various scenarios play out in my mind, some good, some horrific. They repeat as I make my way back upstairs. Okay, so this is going to continue as normal for a little while until we talk to Fidget. Okay, so this is the next section that we need to answer a certain way in order to get another true ending flag. This is the conversation with Fidget following your conversation with Keela and ṛouᴉW and with PB a moment ago. So I'll just start from here because I think there's extra dialogue following it. This is Fidget just stopping me before I could walk away. He gulps as if he's extremely nervous.
Do you think I'll ever see my mom again? I really miss her.
His eyes seem very glossy, like tears are forming. The grip on my hand tightens, becoming intense. What should I say? Okay, so true ending flag. You tell him that they will see Mother again. So that is the correct answer, and it will make Fidget happy. 'Cause yay, Fidget. I nod and smile at Fidget. I tell him it's only a matter of time now. After this much waiting, she's bound to be close.
Yes, I knew it. Thanks, David.
You hear that little beep? That's your true ending flag. This seems to be all he wanted to hear. He retracts his hand and sits silently next to PB. I guess this conversation is over for now. Okay, so we are now continuing forward to the next bit, which will be with... That's going to be back on Earth with, going to be in the office, in Singe's office. Well, not outside of Singe's office. So, see you there. Okay, so this is the next choice that matters. Speaking to Ashron will just let you show him the text and whatnot. Choosing to speak to Shock and Rocker will allow you to talk to Shock and Rocker and get affection points with them that we didn't have.
To get a true ending flag.
Yep.
Huzzah.
So, time to talk to Shock and Rocker. This is going to be a different scene, so we are going to have to do this one.
Yep.
I decide to go spend some time with Shock and Rocker. That was what I won the contest for, after all, the ability to spend time with celebrities, even though the situation was less than ideal. That little beep was the true ending flag. Hooray. Yep. I would actually like to hear what they have to say. They were certainly close to Clace. Rocker seemed like he was holding up okay, but I'm wondering how Shock was taking this. I was also hoping they might play me some songs, but given the circumstances, I highly doubt it. As I was walking towards them, I make eye contact with Ashron. He nods at me before resuming his lookout. It isn't long before I make it to Shock and Rocker. However, I seem to intrude upon an argument. Oh, perhaps I could have picked a better time. You're talking nonsense, Rocker. Why don't you think before you speak? No offense, but it makes you look stupid. He's so edgy. It makes perfect sense, man. You're just too daft to understand. You're calling me stupid? No more than you already done to me. You should know how smart I am. Clace's lead guitarist can't be dumb. It takes a certain level of intelligence. But I'm his lead guitarist, not you. They both take deep breaths and turn to greet me. So you're the fanboy, right?
Shock, they're not a fanboy, they're our honored guest.
Yeah, right. How much did you spend on Popstar? You must be quite the rabid fan. Look at all of that blind devotion.
Shock, don't be rude.
Seems to be his default setting.
Default setting is rude and edgy.
Mm-hmm.
His default setting is angsty teen. It's true when you think about it, Rocker. We earned our spot beside Clace, right? We didn't buy a red carpet to walk in on. Clace was a person like anybody else. You can't buy his attention, David.
Well, you do make a good point, Shock. I apologize on his behalf, however. He's prone to believing he's always right. This is what he really meant to say. He appreciates your devotion to Clace. Him and Shock were childhood friends. Childhood friends? I guess it goes deeper than I thought. Shock doesn't seem to be too affected by the murder. In fact, he just seemed like an all-around jerk. A little bit. And I'll also apologize for my own actions. You walked in on an argument between us. It's rare that I get heated up.
It's true, Rocker isn't one for arguing. Hearing him raise his voice is rare. In fact, I forgot what our fight was about.
We were talking about living on after death. Specifically how I think it's possible.
You mean like zombies?
No, Shock. Not like zombies. Let me explain it this way. Maybe we can convince David.
Great, I love hearing things twice.
He's such a bitch. Well, if you'll let me begin, there's no need to be a jerk about it.
Alright, go on then.
Well, I know Clace is gone and all, but it's possible for him to live on, especially in his possessions and art. Shock seems to think that death is final. A little hypocritical if you ask me. He's been chucking Popstar all day. Sales of those are likely going to inflate. Not for the reason we would want, of course. Stars are given lots of posthumous coverage. Is that like the thing where like they're...
Posthumous.
Posthumous?
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen that term before. It's like... That's the thing where like an artist dies and all of their records sell more because they died.
Yep.
That's what happened to Elvis.
Yep.
It's childish to think that Clace is gone. He'll live on in so many ways. So he's talking about leaving a legacy, not literal afterlife.
Mm-hmm.
I disagree entirely. Clace is gone for sure. All of that stuff is superficial.
Well, he's also not wrong. Then what about his albums? People will be buying those in droves.
Previously recorded albums, you mean? Clace will never sing live again. And that's left. All that's left is his memories of the past.
But you can live on in a memory. That's what I'm trying to say.
No, you can't. That's stupid, Rocker. A memory will never replace his voice. It's a mockery of what we've lost. If you really think memories suffice, then you weren't close to him at all. Nothing can replace the real thing.
That's not what I meant at all. I didn't say we would have to replace him. Just keep his memory intact, you know?
No, I don't really know. All I know is Clace is dead. He's not coming back, and that's final. You can sugarcoat it any way you want, but that's what they call denial. He's outlived by commercial trash.
I didn't mean to strike a nerve, but musicians like that tend to live on, sometimes even after centuries pass. I don't see Clace being any different. He has fans to carry on his legacy. Come on, David, you got my back here, right? No one is gone if we can remember them. At least that's what I like to believe.
How can you side with that? Dead is dead, and that's a fact. Legacy is not an apt replacement. It'll just make the company more money. They'll milk his death for more profit. He's not wrong. That's what happens when anyone dies. That's what happened when Michael Jackson died. That's what happened when Prince died.
Yep.
You're with me on this one, right? Alright, so...
When David Bowie died.
David Bowie died. They're both right in different ways. But for the sake of true ending, you need to side with Shock. This will also get us the one and only chance at an affection point with Shock. So what sucks here is we are not going to get to see Rocker's backstory anyway, because this is the only chance you get to talk to Shock or talk to Rocker and get a point for either of them. And only Shock's affection counts towards true ending. So we're with Shock on this.
Yep.
I feel a little odd being put on the spot like this, but I have to side with Shock. It best projects my personal views on the matter. I don't want to anything but honest with these two. Oh, that's a typo. He meant to say don't want to be anything but honest.
Oopsies.
Oopsies. The death of a celebrity is often commercialized. It wouldn't be a projection of the real Clace. Shock seemed like he was really close to the pop star. I can therefore understand why he's not okay with this. True ending beep.
Wait, I didn't expect that. I'm always alone in my opinions. I expected you to side with Rocker.
You're not as alone as you think, Shock. Perhaps you should apologize now. You were quite rude to David earlier.
I guess. Sorry I judged you like that. I hope I didn't offend you.
I accept his apology with indifference. It didn't really offend me. Now you can't say you're always alone. You got an ally here, Shock.
Something like that. No need to mock me, you know. Either way, we shouldn't waste time arguing. For once, I'm choosing to end the fight. Don't act all surprised, though.
He's still a little bitch. I'm a little surprised, actually. You usually fight until you're winded.
I don't think Clace would approve of this. He wouldn't want us to see us fighting at all. I mean, we're on the topic of honoring him, so we should think about what he'd want. He hated when we fought, after all.
Fair enough, actually. If he were here, he'd stop us both. Just like he usually did.
Maybe that's why it went on so long. He wasn't here to get in the way.
I guess he did keep us in line. Especially during our most popular fight, like who Clace's lead guitarist was.
I know, right? It's pretty clear that it's me.
Such a bitch. Hey, that's not true. I laugh softly and turn away. It isn't long until they act as if I'm not there. It seems to be cyclical. I hear people say that in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
With the two of them. Arguing, making up, and arguing again. It's almost like a sibling dynamic. I wasn't about to take sides in their current fight. They were both extremely talented guitarists. It was like arguing was their way of showing affection. If they hated each other, they wouldn't hang out. They clearly found some sort of enjoyment in this. Perhaps I'll get to learn more about them after. At least I'll have to split them up first. I don't think I could get anything out of them both. They'd get caught up in some sort of fight first. Alright, so I believe... So that sets another true ending flag. Alright.
Okay, so this is the next true ending flag. This is following the conference. Jade approaches you, talks about how you listened to her, about her theories about alternate worlds and timelines. You need to tell her that you believe her. We did do this in our original playthrough, but I'm just reiterating so people following along can get the true ending too. So, we believed Jade. Hooray. See you at the next flag. Alright, so this is the next true ending flag. This is where we are outside the door of Singe's office where he is talking to Keela. In our playthrough, we wanted to eavesdrop a little bit instead of barging in. The correct answer and a true ending flag is to walk inside for the meeting.
Yep.
And off we go.
Let's do this.
I was tempted to listen in, but I'll admit, it was not in my nature. I trusted them enough to not hide anything from me. At least they haven't deceived me thus far.
If we get to a point where it looks like they're talking about the same stuff, I'm going to start skipping again, but I have to check first.
They were probably just making idle conversation. It's not like they'd sit there in silence without me. So without much pause, I open the door. It opens with relative ease, and I slowly go inside, hopefully to gain some answers from the man himself. Yes, save really quick, hurry up. If I hold down the button, it goes straight on through the save thing, which is nice.
Huzzah.
Oh, I forgot, this jumps to a meanwhile.
To a meanwhile? What?
Yeah. I forgot. Alright, skipping forward again. Away! Alright, so I believe this is different. Because we started speaking with... Shock and Rocker instead of with Asheron. Following Rook's conversation with Max, we should have been talking to Asheron, but instead we are now going to be with Shock and Rocker again. So, here we go. And like the conversation with Asheron, it's multiple questions, and you need to get enough of them right to get the true ending flag. So off we go. You should slow down on the caffeine. I heard it's not good for you, Shock. And I mean, this is a friend. 6 energy drinks in one day. Holy shit.
That's really not good for you.
Dude, I stop it too. I haven't had much sleep. I'm drinking them to stay awake. Rook robbed me of the rest of my... Rook robbed me of my rest last night. Couldn't you just take a nap then? There's not much to be done today. I'd say it's a write-off. Get some rest. I can't. What do you mean? I tried earlier, and it's my dreams. They haven't caught up to reality yet. He's still in there, you know what I mean? Oh. That might take a while, Shock. You'll need to sleep sometime soon. Those drinks can't keep you up that long. You don't know what it's like. Sure I do, I just cope differently. We all handle death in different ways. Some people can even be harmful with it.
Ain't that the truth?
Coping. That's what you think this is? When I look at the brand you're drinking, I'd have to say yes, the contest is over. There's no need to drink that many, Shock. I don't know what you're hoping to find, but there won't be anything inside those cans. You might have to look elsewhere, Shock. You're reading into this too much. It's not like I drink these to honor him. It doesn't work that way for me, remember? Funny you'd jump to that conclusion. I didn't mention anything of the sort. You might not realize what you're doing. Sometimes your body does it automatically. It was largely the same for me, Shock. Ever wonder why I carry a bass guitar? You know for a fact I can't play one. You mean? Yes, it's a memento. But it's a more permanent than a pop star. It'll last forever given the right care. You might need to change your thinking. I'm not stupid, Shock, and you know that. You're only pretending to be carefree. You need to cope, not just push it aside. You said it could last forever? Yes, with love and care, Shock. This will last as long as I want it to. It may even outlive me at this rate. You might be reading too much into this. I'm strong enough. I don't need a crutch. A memento would just flood me with memories. It might make it more intense at first, but eventually you'll give it new meaning. The memento becomes yours, not theirs. I'm not sure I follow. You'll have to see for yourself, Shock. I'm not going to force anything on you. But at least tell me you'll consider it. And promise to lay off the pop star. I don't need you anxious and jittery. Fine. If you have any bad experiences, call me. Night terrors or anything in between. I'm your friend, Shock. I'm here for you. I know you're strong enough to do this. Don't play the proud guy and go at it alone. That's the worst possible idea, man. It ensures that the problem never goes away. You'll bottle it up and eventually explode. We don't want any exploding happening here. Oh my god, really? That's some, like, ludicrous foreshadowing. That's just mean.
Yes, it is.
Well, this time you're right. Thank you for the advice. No problem. You know, everyone says we fight a lot, but I always say we're really good friends. And I think we just proved that. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I should probably get going. I wanted to meet with David again. I felt bad for being rude last time. At least you apologized. I didn't know you were capable of that. Now you're just trying to start an argument. Hey, at least it keeps your mind occupied. Fair enough. Just don't turn into a jerk. That's my job. Yeah, I wouldn't want to become you. I hate you. No, you don't. They laugh and give wide smiles to one another. I'll follow behind. I have to stay here for a bit. I have an important meeting to attend. All right. Take care. Oh, no, he's off to the meeting we don't want him to have. He slowly walks away, leaving Rocka behind. No one ever asked me to meet up with them, let alone someone as influential as her. I wonder if it's something special. Oh, it's something special. It's something real special. It's not a good time, though. No. Continuing the prior conversation. Okay, we're thoroughly in stuff we have already seen again. I will see you again in a little bit. Alright, here we are. It doesn't take long for me to pick up on Shock's trail. After following it closely, it leads backstage. Not all of the lights are on, so it's somewhat dark. I'm still able to make out everything important. By the time I reach Shock, my eyes have adjusted. I see him standing there with his face in his paws. An extra-large can of Popstar rests beside him. It looks chilled and about half full. Beads of condensation drip down the side. Why did you follow me? I guess he doesn't want to beat around the bush. I think for a moment before I answer him. Alright, the correct answer here is to say, I wanted to know how you're feeling. He's happy, but confused. He looks at me confusingly, like he didn't expect me to ask about his feelings. I don't know, honestly. You know what's going on around here. And Clace and Rocker, they were my best friends. When you tour with people, you grow so close to them. You become inseparable. And you become more than just friends. When you perform on stage, it's almost like you're one entity. Seamless and perfect. To have it taken away, I've lost a part of me I'll never get back. I can't perform like that again, because I won't have them by my side. He turns to the side and starts chugging the Popstar. The half-full can quickly becomes empty. That would hurt. Like, chugging energy drinks hurts. A little bit, at least for me.
Yeah.
No replacement will ever fill that void. So what can I do? If I can never perform like I wanted to, that's what I've been struggling with. And I think I finally decided. I'm going to resign, quit the business. It's really my only course of action. Only course of action? I'm not sure about that, but extreme course of action, that sounds about right. I ask him why he's decided to do this all of a sudden. I'd rather honor their memory, plus it would make me happy. If I stayed in the business, I'd have to perform with someone else. I mean, I'd need to find a replacement for Clace, and a replacement for Rocker, too. I don't think that's a good thing to do. I wouldn't want to give off the impression that they were expendable. They aren't. People move on in show business every day. I don't think that's something I can do. A week from now, Singe will already have a new set of idols and a new tour planned. But me, I just couldn't do that. They meant too much to me, you know. And they meant a lot to the world, too. So I think I'm going to step down. Do you think that's a good idea? The correct answer here, and the answer that will get you a true flag for answering both questions correctly, is to tell him to do what makes him happy. Shock likes your response. Hooray.
But of course he likes your response.
He smiles at me slightly. I was thinking about my next career choice. Something like a philanthropist. Well, he did end up doing that at the end of our original playthrough. I've only ever wanted the best for others, even though I'm a dick, and I'd have the time and money for it. I make more than enough with my royalties. In fact, I could retire and do nothing. But that would seem like a waste. I wouldn't be making a difference at all. I feel like Clace and Rocker would be more proud of me if I went and caused change. But then the question remains, what kind of change? I guess I need to think on that, but I think I've already made up my mind. The more concrete details can come later. Actually, I think... He stops himself before he continues to speak. Sorry, I just got a little excited. I didn't mean to ramble on like that. No need to apologize. I have to say this whole situation is odd. I expected Shock to be hostile and angry. Yeah, so did we. Or at the very least hateful towards Acheron. But to see him planning his future, is he trying to move on, or is this just escapism? A little of both, I think. It's hard to tell when you're dealing with grief. He could be making an actual effort to move on, or he could just be pushing it aside in denial. I think I know what it is, though. It hasn't even been 24 hours since Clace's death. I don't think it's possible to move on that fast. Hey, you there. He waves at me, trying to get my attention. He must have zoned out. I wanted to talk to you about Acheron. Oh, he does want to talk about Acheron. Perhaps I spoke too early beforehand. He must still be mad about what happened. Let me get this out of the way first. This isn't because he overpowered me. I have some genuine concerns. I've just kept them quiet so far. I hope that I can trust you with this. I can trust you, right? I nod affirmatively. He doesn't have to worry about me betraying his trust. Whatever he told me would stay between us, because I expected the same courtesy of him. He's a very suspicious man, you know. Some things just don't add up to me. The old security guard disappears, Clace dies, a new guard appears, Rocker dies. It's too convenient. The killer also has to be somebody here. Rocker's death proved that fact. And I don't know how you feel, but it felt like he gave me a death threat. Back in front of Singe's office, I mean.
He hinted that he'd let me die if I didn't stay on his good side, which is horrible.
Well, that did happen, but I don't think Acheron is the killer. He's always been truthful as far as I can tell.
He keeps mentioning this perfect track record of his, too. Turns out it's not so perfect. But not because of Rocker's death.
What?
I was looking up his name online. There seems to be hints here and there of an operation he was part of in Africa, but he refuses to talk about it publicly. And anything that was promising has since been taken offline. He's hiding something. What would he want to hide, though? It would have to be something shameful. Something that affects his reputation. What else could that be but a failure? Turns out he's not as perfect as we thought. In fact, there's lots of stuff about him that just leads to long-dead web pages. It takes power to do that en masse.
It kinda does. I find this all a little hard to believe. So Acheron is lying about his perfect track record. Or at the very least, he's hiding facts about his past. The latter is more acceptable. But the former makes me doubt almost everything.
It goes deeper, trust me. I cross-referenced the dates of Acheron's time in Africa with other notable events. This is where it gets interesting. Maxine Armstrong was also present. Of course, she said she was just visiting, that she didn't have any business there. But she must have been lying. That week there were explosions. The details of that are also hard to find. But it was all in the same small village, the same one that Acheron was in as well. I'm not grasping at straws. They were there together. And now they're here together. In Africa it ended in explosions, but it hasn't happened here yet. And emphasis on the yet. So right now we're one step ahead. It's all too connected to mean nothing. Everything about the village during that span of time is also impossible to find. Something bad happened in Africa, and now it's happening here as well. Maybe there's some sort of murdering duo?
After that, he remained silent. I'm left to try and absorb what he's just told me. It can't be coincidence that they're both here. But why were the details of Africa so hard to find? I'm assuming that Shock is truthful, of course. I doubt he's the type to make this up. But doesn't Acheron hate Armstrong with a passion? He also had no idea what Maxine was involved there.
Allegedly. Could be an act to throw us off the trail. We need to get Singe to evacuate now. The bottom line is, we're not safe here. We need to leave Tokyo. I don't care where else we go.
My mind flashes back to the earlier meeting with Singe. How we shouldn't make any rash movements. We don't want to provoke them into killing us. Or I guess in this case, setting off the weapons. It's kind of stupid, though. Acheron might talk some sense into him. That is, unless he's involved in this mess.
Well, maybe that's going a little too far. But you get what I'm trying to say, right? We can't trust Acheron to protect us. Nor can we trust Armstrong Incorporated. We need to ensure our own protection. Not place it in others or in armaments. I know you had my back before. I trust that you're on my side again. We need to push Acheron away. This conversation was optimal. Huzzah! And that little beep was a true ending flag. Yep. Hooray. We can't put our lives in his hands. Come on, you're with me, right?
I'm not sure what to say, but he thinks that Acheron is hiding failures. I wouldn't believe it, but Rocker's already dead, only after a few hours, so I have proof of his failure right in front of me. However, he's been acting up since the press conference. Perhaps Armstrong's involvement affects his judgment a little bit. This case got personal for him very fast. But then there's the issue of Africa. Him and Max both in the same village with explosions. And now they're both here with bombs, too. It doesn't appear to me as pure coincidence. And it's clear that Shock wants a response now. I don't blame him with how fast things have happened. But I need to think carefully. There's always the chance he's just vindictive. Rocker did die under Acheron's watch. And Acheron did make Shock out to be pretty weak. What do I tell him?
Word has its way of spreading. Nice to warn me. Correct answer here, because this is also... Sorry, I'm dying. This is also a true ending flag. You have to say you still trust Acheron. That is a true ending flag.
He laughs at me and claps his hands a couple times. After this, an awkward silence ensues.
Wait. You weren't joking? After everything I've just told you?
I nod. This is his job, and all eyes are on him. Whatever happens will not escape the media barrage. If he wants to maintain his good name, he won't slip up. I can't take the evidence from Shock as proof. It was all tangential, hardly concrete.
I thought better of you. I won't lie. But mark my words, more people will die. And I just rhymed for no reason. I just feel it in my gut. I'm leaving.
Moist.
Moist. I tell him that it would probably be better to stay. If he acts like that, he could scare the culprit. Hey, true ending flag beep. You think so? But what if Acheron is the culprit? What are you going to do in that situation? This could be the final choice we make. Would you be content if you're wrong? Dots. Before I can even think of responding, my phone rings. I feel as if my heart stops beating. Another text message. I hoped they would stop. It feels like I've woken up from a nightmare. I raise a finger asking him to hold on. He stops talking, giving me time to check. I go through a brief period of hoping it's Singe, or Rook, or Keela, but this hope is short-lived. Okay, so this is now continuing from the end of the talk with Acheron, where we had to go to the lobby and do the whole thing with the bombs. Oh boy, sadness.
Bombs!
Sadness inbound. I'm not sure what they could possibly mean. What was about to begin? I stop and think. Last time I got a text, they said a friend would die. I instantly put my phone back in my pocket and storm out of the room without saying a word. But honestly, I wouldn't know what to say. I assume this person wants me alone, and so I leave Shock by himself and go to the lobby, into certain danger for both myself and my friends. Alright, we are now skipping forward from here. So, in the hallway, right before the thing where you have to pick somebody, you have to talk to Anewme. Answering both of his questions correctly will be part of a true ending flag.
Blep.
Blep. Because every time we look at him, we see his little tongue coming out and we say blep.
Because it's adorable.
Okay, so we tell him we're going to keep him safe, I believe. I'm double checking. Yes. We're going to keep you safe, Anewme, of course. He likes my answer. Hooray! Watch my massive skipping skills. Oh, it's not working now. Never mind. If I held down A... Oh, here we go. Here's the other choice.
Tell me about yourself, Anewme.
Yes, that is the correct choice. We say, hey, tell me about yourself. This will give us him telling us his story later, which we got in our original playthrough, but this also triggers a true ending flag for us.
Yep.
So this is like an interview? Okay. Alright, so we have read this all before. We will meet you in the bombings. Okie doke. So this is the next point in which you have to make a decision, and this decision sucks no matter what you do, but the correct answer that will get you a true ending is picking Rook to save. Sorry, Keela.
Fuck that creepy bastard Keela.
But, hey, Keela gets to be with his brother, right? Ish. Maybe. Anyway, save Rook. You made a difficult decision. Alright, so I will be skipping forward to the room that they are in, because I'm pretty sure leading up to that is the same. We see Rook almost immediately. He's strapped to a chair. I notice a flashing red light in his lap. That must be the bomb. I quickly rush to inspect it. However, I lock gazes with him first. His eyes are red and wet. Was he crying?
Sorry.
You came for me. Why? I honestly don't know how to respond. I look down to inspect the bomb. They were right about having 5 minutes. I let Acheron know that the timer is counting down. Let me see. He comes and stands beside me. Anewme waits in the doorway. 4 minutes now. We can do this. Remain calm. He takes deep breaths as he examines the bomb. Wait. A 9-digit numerical keypad, as well as a button for the number 0. Too many combinations to just guess. This is impossible. We were set up. He tries to remove the bomb, but it starts beeping. He winces in fright and quickly leaves it be. Hey, nobody's... Oh, wait, you can be here. We know that's Max. You can do it.
Hey, nobody said you could remove it. Try that one more time, and I'm going to blow this building sky high. Got it?
Acheron gulps and nods.
Besides, you do know the code.
This scene plays out about exactly the same, except Rook is involved instead of Keela.
Yep. I'll give you a couple hints. It's a number that the three of you know. Surely you've heard it somewhere before. And to top it off, it's 4 digits.
That could be anything. I don't appreciate these games.
It's not too difficult, Acheron. You're good at solving problems. This one is no different.
Alright, so I am inclined to believe this is the same.
I am exceedingly inclined to believe this is the same as well.
So, I'm going to start skipping. Just, I'm watching to see if anything looks different, though. We all know the digits, blah, 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 trace, blah, 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 blah. I'm waiting to see when Rook interjects, because I feel like that will be different. Nope, that's the same, too. That's the same number Keela gives.
Yep.
Clace's birth year, yeah. Alright, so, this is all going to be the same, except for...
It's Rook as opposed to Keela.
Right, so, we are going to skip forward to something that is different because of this. And or the next decision. We will see.
And there goes the true flag.
Okay, so the bomb just went off and the true ending flag just booped. So, huzzah. Okay, here's the next true ending flag you need to answer correctly. And I believe...
It is forgiving РouᴉW.
Yeah. You have to forgive РouᴉW, which we did, which we got that. We got that, actually. Originally. We got this correct the first time. Yay me. I forgive you, RouᴉW.
You didn't want to. I was the one who said to forgive him.
Well, because he's a shit, and up to this point he gave me no reason to trust him until after this.
Yes.
There's a lot of redemption arcs going on here. With Shock, him, Rook, and there was the true ending beep. I believe this is all... Ashford leaves Anewme in the protection of Singe. Okay, yeah, this is the same. Moving on. Okay, here we are picking up with Rook, so this is going to be a little different since it's not Keela. I don't know if the speech is going to be different. If it is different, we won't even be having this conversation. He grabs the bomb and places it beside him. The green light signals its continued safety. Why did he choose me? His mind is still assaulted by the prior events. He grips the sides of his chair, trembling. I don't understand. Everything Max said was right. The choice should have been obvious. His shout echoes softly through the conference room. He jerks in fright as he hears the reverberation. For a moment he thought it was someone else. Ugh. Now you're scared of nothing. Good job. He laughs softly in relief. After a few moments pass, he attempts to stand up, but his knees buckle and he falls back into the chair. Ugh. Damn, Rook, you're a mess. He starts to type away on his tablet, but suddenly Max's words strike fear in his heart. No, that would only prove her right. Putting his tablet away, he attempts to stand once more. This time he uses strength to overcome the buckling. His knees are weak, but he still feels confident. Got it. Just no running any marathons. I should see who's up and about. He takes his time with slow, heavy steps. Eventually he arrives at the conference room doors. He notices they're broken in and heavily damaged. They sure went through a lot to save me. I guess I can't let that go to waste. He takes a deep breath before leaving the room. When he gets outside, he slowly scans the vicinity. There's no one in sight. Perhaps people are still too scared. Well, I can't really blame them. His eyes find their way to Singe's office. The door's firmly shut. I hope he's okay. I should probably go see what he's up to. We're going to have to take drastic action. He approaches the office doors, but before he can open them, someone calls his name.
Rook?
He quickly turns around. It's Jade. He can see the aftermath of tears in her eyes. Hey. She takes slow steps towards him, like she's trying not to make any sudden movements. Perhaps she thinks he's still in shock.
I didn't know what to think. I was scared I might not see you again.
I was scared of that too. Honestly, I didn't expect to be chosen. I really thought I was going to die. I embraced it, but it never came. I expected my life to flash before me, but I guess that myth isn't really true. He gives Jade a soft smile, as much as he can muster, given the circumstances. You only see the most important moments, and the people that made them special.
Rook.
She locks him in a tight embrace, crying softly.
Don't ever do this again. You hear me? There's so many people that care about you.
I guess you're right. I had a hard time seeing it until now. My nose was always buried elsewhere. But not anymore. It's time for me to repay David. It's my turn to save lives. He returns the embrace, holding her closely. And the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to have a long talk with Singe. We're getting out of this convention center. So if he's alive, he arranges the evacuation instead of Singe. Well, instead of Acheron. Alright, so this might be different. If it's different, we'll keep going. If it's not, we're skipping. Singe, you have to listen to me. We'll die if we stay here any longer. Oh, I forgot to say where we were. We're back in the office. It seems Rook is talking to Singe, and this is a scene that entirely did not happen in our original playthrough.
Yep.
Rook, it's not that simple. You don't run with a gun pointed at you. I don't know how many times I can say this. They'll take it as provocation. We must remain docile and obey them. Remember what David did, Rook? If he didn't obey, we'd all be dead. I guess you're right. Speaking of which, where is David? Resting. The ordeal was very trying. I'm afraid they passed out soon after. But they'll be safe from now on. It's true what the culprit said. It's up to us to mitigate the damage. Trying to run away would kill us all. Knowing that, but you still run away. If you do it, you could kill us all. Is that how you want to repay Keela? His sacrifice gave us our lives. We can't squander this gift. Gift, huh? Man, this is going to be a PR nightmare. Keela didn't even get to sign the waivers. Things haven't gone exactly as planned. But Rook, I have to tell you something. Something that can never leave this room. What is it? I started to dig a little deeper. You know, into Keela's history. I wanted to notify his next of kin. But I couldn't find anything. And he didn't get to fill out any forms, so we don't have emergency contact info. I guess his family stayed under the radar. That's hard to do in this day and age. To be honest, it was the same with Acheron. Looking him up gave me next to nothing. It's like we have ghosts on the tour. So what are we going to do, then? People will want answers, Singe. What are you giggling about?
He is a ghost, because Keela's actually Eddie.
Yeah, technically. That's exactly the problem. I've never been more clueless in my life. He reaches into his pocket and pulls out some paper. He places it face down on the table in front of Rook. Huh? This is what you must never repeat. Only turn it over if you give me your vow. It's all I could find in my research. Rook hesitates a moment, utterly confused. I know that people will want answers, but announcing Keela's death to the world, I fear it will only cause confusion. Well, we know why. Rook gulps as he slowly turns over the paper. A moment later, he looks up at Singe in shock. But this is... That's right, it's an obituary. Rook, I don't know who we lost to that bomb. But the real Keela has been dead for months. So you get part of his backstory even if he dies.
Yep.
So that's
just a little.
Just a little bit of it. I don't know if the deal with the cell here is going to change, because I think Sam would come regardless. Mm-hmm. Because Sam works for Righty.
Yep.
So I'm going to skip forward to something that's different. See you guys in a minute. Okay, so this is different. So whoever you sided with, I guess that's who shows up in the cellar to help you. So instead of it being Endymion and Conrad, it's Righty. And just like the cellar, he pops up behind me. He doesn't scare me as much, but my heart still pounds. I don't think he could have picked a worse time. Yeah, he popped up behind David and was like, Oi! Oh, I frightened you, I'm sorry. I'm trying to tread lightly here, and it's really hard because I'm fucking huge. He looks behind me as if expecting to see someone. Was Keela back there by chance? He disappeared around the same time as you. I gulp before I break the news to Righty. I let him know that Keela passed away last night. He was involved in a tragedy back on Earth. I see. That is most unfortunate. He was a very bright soul, you know. It's hard to find that in this bleak world. I better not tell him that it was my choosing. In fact, I should probably not tell anybody that. Wait a minute, back on Earth? You might have believed that he left Terra. I nod. But that's impossible, David. Our connection doesn't work that way. I swear that I'm telling the truth. Before I woke up in the cell, I went back as well. That's a pretty tall tale, but it would explain the king's interest. There's more to you than I thought. He crosses his arms, losing himself in thought. You must have seen Sam, right? I hired her to help me out today. She was supposed to rescue any prisoners, but there were just so many. I didn't know Blair was capable of this. His hatred truly knows no bounds. Sam saved me before she left the manor, yeah. And I should probably tell Righty the truth. It isn't Lord Blair behind this, it's Riley. At least he's been the one pulling the strings. But before I can, we hear a crashing noise. It sounds like it's coming from upstairs. I look to Righty and ask what we should do. We need to investigate. I think Blair already has Kalen. He wasn't in any of the cells. Just like Sam mentioned, that worries me.
We can do this, David. Together we're going to expose the king.
He hands me a sword. I don't know what to do with it. I really hope he wasn't expecting me to fight. The art of swordplay has been lost on Earth. Before I can say anything else, he runs off. I follow him to the best of my ability, and it isn't very long before we get upstairs. I'm baffled by how large this place actually is. It's a stunning counterpoint to the Wayfarer's Tavern, and for that matter, the society I saw before. Is this really what the upper class was like here? Calling it a mansion would be an understatement. It's a veritable labyrinth and showcase of wealth. We turn corners until we arrive at the large atrium. I assume that we're tracking down the noise we heard. And sure enough, it's Endymion and Conrad. They immediately turn to us, drawing their weapons.
Righty, hand over the savior. I don't want to fight you today. I'm afraid I can't do that. We're here to rescue Kaelin. After today, Velasquez is exposed. You just won't give up, will you? There's nothing you need to expose.
Endymion draws his daggers and lunges toward Righty. Righty quickly weaves to the side and punches his gut. Endymion stumbles backwards, winded.
You need to stop being so blind. The king wanted Kaelin imprisoned, and if I don't save him, he'll die. Lord Player is a relentless killer. There's no way Kaelin could escape.
Righty draws his axe and holds it forward.
Help me take down Player and rescue Kaelin. If you don't, then you're our enemy.
What do you mean, our enemy? The savior's on our side, you know. Endymion takes a fighting stance, looking at me.
It's not true, Endymion. David chose to side with me yesterday. Even he saw through Velasquez's facade. Spouting lies as usual. You'll do anything to get in your way.
You'll do anything to get in your way. I think that's a typo. I think it was meant to be our way.
But not this time, Righty.
He lunges towards Righty once again, but this time I take action. I jump in the way and hold out my sword. Endymion stops in his tracks, dangerously close.
Don't tell me it's true. We went through so much for you.
I tell Endymion that he's overthinking things. Siding with Righty was safer than rushing to the king. I had no idea what he wanted with me, and it was scary. But rescuing Kaelin would reveal the king's intent. If the king was truly evil, I'd stay away. But if he wasn't, then he could venture to him safely. Saving Kaelin was more like flipping a coin to me, better than rushing against unfathomable odds. I came from another world, and I couldn't be sure. I needed to know Velasquez's true nature first. If our situations were reversed, he'd do the same. This seems like a good enough explanation for him. He sheathes his daggers and assumes a neutral stance.
Very well, I trust you. But we don't have time to rescue Kaelin. Like hell you don't. Taking down Player is what you wanted. Helping me will accomplish that too.
This is where I decided to tell them the truth. Lord Player wasn't behind all of this, it was Riley. He played the role of advisor and controlled him.
What? Are you serious?
But we saw the bloodied rat. Okay, from here on, I believe it is the same. I assume I pretty much figured out when he said neutral stance, that it was going to be, this is where it starts being the same forward. So I'm going to start skipping now. Yep, here's Riley. This is all going to play out the same, because there were no choices that could interact with this. So I'll see you guys at either the next change or the next choice.